Relatives of a Sumner County woman who died after a Vanderbilt nurse gave her the wrong medication says they will never get over how some people have responded to the nurse's conviction. As Fox 17 News' Amanda Chen explains, they say they are humiliated by the movement to free the nurse, RaDonda Vaught.
An online petition has more than 170,000 signatures supporting clemency for former nurse RaDonda Vaught. But the family of the patient who died says this backlash has re-traumatized them.
We, the jury, find the defendant, RaDonda Vaught, guilty of criminally negligent homicide.
The jury found former Vanderbilt nurse RaDonda Vaught guilty of 2 charges for an accidental injection death of 75-year-old Charlene Murphey in 2017.
There are going to be mistakes that are made. Some of them, unfortunately, are life-threatening. The answer is not to incarcerate those people.
Dr. Pamela Mehta is one of thousands of medical professionals from across the country that has expressed concern over criminalizing medical mistakes. Hannah McLaughlin is a nurse from Syracuse, New York, who started that online petition.
I think the outcome of this is going to be detrimental to our profession. Absolutely.
But the district attorney's office says this was not a case about a simple mistake. This was about 18 instances of gross neglect.
The district attorney's office supports victims, and the victim in this case was Charlene Murphey.
The reaction to the verdict led to the Murphey family issuing a statement. They feel friends and political candidates have made them into bad guys. They feel humiliated, degraded, and say they may never get over the reaction to this verdict. What is your response to that?
I don't think the nursing community is going after the family itself because they lost, a family member in a very tragic way. It's more of an institutional relationship there.
The Murphey family ends by saying, quote, "Our mother was a caring and loving person. Those using her death for personal gain should be ashamed." RaDonda Vaught will be sentenced on May 13th, and nurses I've spoken with from all across the country say they plan to be there.
Nurses across the country have gone to bat for her, saying they fear this verdict will drive people from the nursing profession. Charlene Murphey's family says hearing people make the nurse, RaDonda Vaught, the victim, has traumatized them all over again. Metro DA Glenn Funk tells Fox 17 News tonight that Vaught committed 18 errors that led to Murphey's death. He says that many mistakes are reckless and jurors saw her actions for what they were.
The district attorney's office supports victims, and the victim in this case was Charlene Murphey.
Tuition for public education is going up. In Williamson County schools, they charge teachers for their children to attend if they live outside the district.
That's what they do, and some teachers don't think it's right. Fox 17 News' Jackie Del Pilar speaks to one teacher who says that this is an unfair financial burden.
The teacher I spoke with grew up here in Franklin. She graduated from Franklin High School and always dreamed her own children would do the same. Well, she can't afford to live here on a teacher's salary, but now she's forced to pay thousands of dollars a year to her employer just for her children to go to school here. Williamson County teachers forced to fork out thousands of dollars for their own kids to attend their schools. It's the only district in the mid-state that requires tuition for teachers' children who live outside of the county.
I feel like it's just wrong for the richest county in the state to generate revenue off their own employees. For what?
Teacher Mallory Hampton lives just over the county line in Nolensville. She moved here 2 years ago after housing prices pushed her family out. She says she spent close to $4,000 last year for her daughter to attend the same school she teaches at.
I would be paying over $28,000 in county tuition once my youngest child graduates. So I feel like I would much rather invest that money in college tuition or private education and not the same free and public education that I service daily.
I reached out to the school district asking why this policy is in place and what it would take to change it. A spokesperson said in a statement, county commissioners believe out-of-district teachers should contribute to the costs locals are paying through property tax. The district has worked over the years to reduce the tuition rate as much as they can while still getting their budget approved. Superintendent Jason Golden said in a recent board meeting, the district doesn't depend on that money for its budget.
From a budgeting standpoint, the revenue that we get from teacher tuition is not driving us.
Mallory says the policy hurts teachers more than it helps the district.
He said it's not a significant revenue source, but it is a significant expense on the teacher and on the teacher's family.
Superintendent Golden says a policy change would ultimately need to come from the county commission. I reached out to all commissioners asking whether they would consider changing the policy. No one responded. Mallory says about $150 from each of her paychecks goes toward tuition. It's the largest deduction on her check, more than taxes and Social Security and health benefits for her whole family.